Hey, it's Soul with a light-hearted video this time. This is going to be one of those pieces where it kind of feels like a bunch of us are just kind of sitting around at our friend's house, the one with a really nice TV, and we're just sharing some fun ideas. So, hit the like button, subscribe for more vibes, and you know what would be cool? If World of Warcraft did a real roguelike experience, like the right way. Now, don't be scared, we're walking into this together, but let's take a visit to Torghast. Oh, okay, don't go away yet. I haven't even started yet. Okay, I know, but some of you are traumatized, I get it, but just hear me out. Let's say we are in Torghast, but we're not on our character, per se. We're playing as this faceless level 1 automa, which has no abilities or anything whatsoever. So what do we do here? I'm going to skip the context of what gets us here, but when we start our run, I guess, we pick up an anima power, but it's not really an anima power. Instead, while you get a very similar menu, you're going to choose between several basic abilities like Frostbolt or Sinister Strike or Bloodthirst. This is possible because the automa can use any resource, whether it's mana or rage, runes, essences, whatever. Just suspend your disbelief, we're already playing the video game, right? So let's pretend that we chose Frostbolt, and then off we go into this Torghast-like place, exploring the experience and killing things. Now, since we're level 1, mobs are obviously going to be very weak, they're going to go down in no time, and as we're exploring and killing stuff, we gain levels. Now, levels are going to give us basic stats like health and casting speed, but also new abilities. A prompt is going to appear that will call a similar sort of menu to anima powers, but now we get a choice between other random abilities, and these may all be focused on crowd control. And maybe when you gain a few more levels, then you get a more advanced DPS ability. So then my automa can throw frost bolts, and then when the enemy gets too close, I can heroic leap away to kite them. The idea here is that abilities are going to come from levels as you're killing things, while enhancements can also be found around by killing mobs and exploring and so on. And these enhancements, they could give something kind of similar to anima powers, but it's going to be more or less very toned down. The intent here isn't to make us reach some sort of escape velocity and become almost invincible unless we get fear locked or just one shot by a certain attack. The idea here is to create a short-term leveling experience, kind of, where we pick up a number of abilities and power-ups as we climb or progress higher or further. If your regular Torghast climb is made up of 5 floors, where I think like you climb 2 floors and then you take a break on one of them, and then you climb one more floor, and then you reach this boss floor. By the time you reach the equivalent of that 5th floor, which could be 15 to 20 minutes or so, you'll have picked up at most 10 of these, I guess, semi-random abilities between all the classes. So any of these class abilities, well, almost any of these class abilities might be selectable. The game is going to manage the power selection. Like I said, at the start you get a very basic ability, and at some point you're going to pick up a few crowd control abilities and defensives and just a little bit of self-healing. You're not going to run into a situation where you only get crowd control abilities and your character is totally useless, but you might make some wrong selections, and yeah, you might end up having a very useless character. So once you get to this 5th floor, or you make the equivalent progression, maybe you'll encounter a boss or a more difficult encounter, or not, or maybe neither. But whatever the case, once you get to that point, you're going to hit a checkpoint, and then you're presented with a choice. Now, one, you can stop where you're at, and you'll be able to save your progress. You'll be given this item if you decide to save. You get this item that pretty much saves your automa. That way you can come back later and just slot your automa back in and then play as it again. Or you can just take the item and destroy it, whatever you want. You can also progress further with your current automa. You won't get any new abilities, but you will still get some power-ups as you're killing mobs, and it'll still help you to kind of keep up with the scaling difficulty, but eventually your healing won't be enough and mobs will overwhelm you, and, well, down you go. Now, as you progress, you're going to continue to run into these checkpoints where you can take a break and save your progress, or take your automa item and leave. But if you happen to die, then the stone is lost, and then you start all over. Or you maybe use another automa stone that you had saved earlier and then give that a go. So what do you get out of this? What's the reward? I haven't really thought that through, to be honest. Like, it could be anything. It could be achievements or titles or transmog or pets and mounts and flight stones. It could be a Beef Wellington for all I care, but probably not player power necessarily. The ultimate aim of this feature, I guess, is for this to be like a semi-seasonal evergreen content thing, where more rewards are added over time, but there's no pressure. There's no unlocks, there's no keys in order to do this, there's no urgency, there's no FOMO. It's just there and stuff gets tossed over that way every now and then. What I'm proposing here is a bona fide roguelike experience built into the world of Warcraft using some procedural system like Torghast. I mean, it doesn't have to be Torghast. It can be like a bronze dragon time jumping thing. It could be a mysterious, twisty, emerald dream lost forest sort of thing. But we're familiar with how Torghast works, so that's why you're going to see all these visuals. Now, unlike roguelites with a T, this roguelike experience only gives you this one chance for your automa to progress as far as it can on its own unique adventure. Now, there's a reason this isn't linked to your character's level or their gear. There is no box of many things that will follow you from run to run. There is no outgearing. There is no progression that makes this easier. Every new game is going to start at level 1 with no abilities, and in the end, you've got to rely on a bit of RNG with the abilities that you get and the skill to take those abilities to go the distance and collect as many rewards as you can, whatever the reward system is going to be. Now, since this feature is not going to be character specific, it should be easy to save the automa's information on just an item, or at least technically I think it should be. And I feel like being able to save your progress is very important. I mean, disconnecting during a Twisting Corridors run while you're on the 17th or so floor has been pretty punishing. I was there. I want to avoid that, but still, this feature ought to feel pretty challenging, meaning some abilities aren't going to be included in this big class pool. Like, for example, really powerful instant heals like Word of Glory, that's probably not going to be there, or ones that cheese bad pulls like Feign Death or Invisibility or Vanish. A lot of the time your build is only going to take you so far, but sometimes you might be having a good day and you're going to climb or progress super far or high. I can imagine folks sharing their automa's progression, like maybe developing a growing attachment because of how far they were able to get. And I can also imagine posts with a big old rip, like giving tribute to their automa warrior for having progressed so far with that mighty frostbolt. Now, some folks are going to compare this to a feature in Final Fantasy XIV, which has its own roguelike experience, and I don't remember much of it. But by all means, go ahead and compare it, call it a ripoff, whatever. I still think that this would be a cool thing to have in World of Warcraft as a distraction, another activity between whatever it is that we normally do in the game that utilizes some old technology while still introducing some new concepts. So that's it. Let me know what you think, what could be improved, maybe some of your own ideas, and that's it. Like the video, subscribe for more stuff, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.